Hi, this is Charlie Carter, audio producer for the MJCast. Jamon is travelling right now, so couldn't record this special note. This episode was recorded before the tragic news of Tito Jackson's passing. We will explore Tito's life and legacy in a future episode. If you would like to listen to Tito when he was a guest on the MJCast, you can find him on episode 50. All of us at the MJCast are deeply saddened and shocked by the news of Tito's passing, and we all send our love and thoughts to the entire Jackson family, especially to Tarrell, TJ, and our good friend Taj. We are with you always. The following episode is dedicated to Toriano Adaril Tito Jackson.
The following is a presentation from the MJCast, the internet's premier podcast on all things Michael Jackson.
I'm a Black American. I am proud of who I am.
Together, we can make a change in the world.
I want to see you!
I like to take sounds and put them under the microscope.
There's a driving bass, you become the bass. Let the music write itself.
I don't sing it if I don't mean it.
Welcome to the MJCast, your source of news, discussion, and interviews on the King of Pop. Hello and welcome to the MJCast. I'm your host, Jamon Bull, and we're doing a regular episode. We haven't done one in ages, but it's time to get on top of all the news, and there's been a lot of it. I'm pretty happy today because I'm here with a bunch of close friends and MJCast veterans and people that have been on shows before. Let's go around the table and introduce everybody. Q, founder of the MJCast, my old buddy from way back. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Howdy, howdy. It's Q from Studio Perth. Hello, everyone. Hope you are all well. And what a great group we have today. I'm very excited to be here with all of you. Some voices that I haven't spoken to in person before and others that I have. But this is good. Let's hang, guys. Let's catch up.
It's going to be awesome. We've also got Hannah Savage here. MJ YouTube personality extraordinaire, in the middle of dropping the This Is It series, probably editing part 2, calling in from Studio Columbus, Ohio. Hannah, welcome back to the MJCast. How are you?
Hello, darling. It's really nice to be here amongst other fans. I mean, I listen to you guys all the time, and it's kind of surreal to be here. It's great.
Thank you. Can't wait to get your thoughts on all the news. And of course, we also have returning to the MJCast, Mr. Shawn Shackelford, Director of K-12 Instruction and Professional Development at I don't know how I'm going to say this. Shawn, you're going to have to help me out. Hamtramck Public Schools. Did I get that okay?
You got it right. Hamtramck. Yes.
Hamtramck.
And, hey. How's everybody doing? I'm happy to be back here.
Welcome back. You're calling in from Studio Clinton Township in Michigan. Great to hear your voice again. How's the family?
Oh, we're all doing great. It's great to be back on, and I'm ready to talk Michael and the Jacksons.
Here we go. And
can I just say, there's not many families that have a theme song, but the Shackelfords, they have a theme song. And it is the best. It is always an absolute joy to see Shawn and the fam singing the theme song. I love it so much, Shawn.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to have to copyright it and trademark all of that
yes.
stuff. So.
Do it.
Yes.
And last but not least, we have got Mr. Jason Garcia from MJ Radio calling in from Studio Houston in Texas. Jason, it's been a while since you've been on the MJCast, but welcome back, my old friend. How are you?
Hola, amigos, ¿cómo están? This is Jason from Houston. I'm great. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here and excited to talk about Michael once again.
I always feel so happy to talk with you, Jason, because a lot of listeners don't know, but you're the guy that helps us out of a bind probably once every season or so when we get in big trouble with, editing and too much to edit and that kind of thing, or one of us gets sick, you step in and help out. So I deeply appreciate that, Jason. Thank you for when you do that.
Oh, no, thank you for the trust that you give me. I'm really happy, always happy to help. And I know this is, material of a professional material, and I want to make sure I do it right. And I know you have thousands of listens, and I want to make sure that they get it right and they get a quality material.
Yeah. He's like the secret superhero that swoops in and just like saves the day and then just disappears quietly into the night.
Thank you.
Legend.
I try my best to do that.
Oh, all right. Well, there'll be a chance for us later in the episode to talk about how all of our separate kind of individual projects are going, whether it be your YouTube channel, Hannah, or Jason MJ Radio. We'll definitely get to that. But let's start by jumping right into the news. Now, it's not often that we sort of start off with a bit of a sadder topic, but we thought we'd do this one right at the beginning because it's something where we'd like to, I guess, commemorate and maybe even tribute somebody. Unfortunately, there's been a passing in the community, and this is a journalist, a very well-known journalist by the name of Linda Deutsch, who's recently passed away, unfortunately, at the age of 80 after a battle with pancreatic cancer. Now, Linda was a special correspondent for the Associated Press and was arguably America's best-known trial reporter. And for 50 years, she wrote on some of the nation's most significant criminal and civil trials, including O.J. Simpson and famously Michael Jackson's criminal trial in the mid-2000s. She was diagnosed in 2022 and underwent successful treatment at the time, but unfortunately the cancer returned over the summer and she passed away. Tom Mesereau, some of the members of the community might remember that Tom Mesereau famously said of her that she's the epitome of ethics and professionalism in journalism, and he couldn't think of anyone that really rises to her level, and she always maintained that Michael was being framed throughout his career. She also, interestingly, gave some really great interviews throughout her career post the Michael Jackson trial, in which she talked about how Michael was doing during that trial and even recounted a phone call that she had with him and spoke about how I think Michael's comment to her was that the trial was the hardest thing he'd ever had to do in his life. So it's a sad moment, I think, for the community with Linda's passing, but we do remember her with great respect and for everything that she contributed to Michael's legacy and the truth. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Well, I think it was always refreshing living through that time, having a journalist with a level of integrity. Obviously as Michael Jackson fans, we want to believe, that he was innocent at the time. And, we strongly believe in his innocence, but to have someone in the media like the anti-Diane Diamond, who's actually, reporting what's actually happening and doing it with such integrity, it was always refreshing. And I think as she was recounting that story, that phone conversation with Michael, it was her feeling that, the trial really killed him at that moment. And so it was very sad to hear, but I'm forever grateful that her words and her writing, it will be forever, document her belief in like all of us who are fans who believed in his innocence.
Oh, well, I think, as Shawn said, it's always sad to see a seasoned veteran go, and one that has such amazing journalistic integrity and actually reported on the truth, no matter what that truth was.
And there were very few during that time. You have more now that are willing to speak out and you hate to say have courage to tell the truth now. But I think she was on an island at that time on her own, because no one else was reporting the way she was reporting.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there, Shawn. There's something to be said about reporters who turned around later and started to correct the narrative. For example, Aphrodite Jones, we do, of course, acknowledge how, I guess, honorable that was to do, but it's a whole nother game to be the only voice speaking up when everybody else around you is saying something different.
I think also Linda sort of epitomizes a style of journalism and a journalist herself that doesn't exist much anymore. Media now is quite different. It's like junk food. It's cheap. It's all for clicks. It's all for ad revenue. It's not really focused actually much on truth and details and the full picture and context and things. It's all about one side or the other side and giving equal weight to certain views, which don't always deserve to have the equal weight and things like that. So I think it's something that Linda can be very proud of, is how professional and an actual real journalist should be, like an example that sadly many won't look up to these days.
No, and Q, you make a great point about the sensationalism. I mean, during that time, we had Maureen Orth, telling stories about Michael and voodoo dolls, as opposed to Linda Deutsch actually being there and reporting the truth. But what do people quote today? Maureen Orth and Michael Jackson voodoo dolls. So that just kind of tells you where the public, what they look for in terms of a story.
All right. Well, onto a little bit of happier news. Recently, we've had the Jacksons decide to do an interview with Fox News. And during the interview, they talked about something that's coming up that's pretty exciting. So Marlon, Tito, and Jackie got together and talked about, they were asked a question of what's coming up in the future. And they said that next year, an 8-part documentary series is coming out about the Jacksons, and they'll be talking about things that people don't know about them. So I'm not sure what that's going to all be about. I guess we won't know until it really comes. But we've got a big year coming, not only with the biopic coming out, but also the Jacksons now announcing that they've got an 8-part documentary series on the way. They were also asked about whether a new album would be coming from them. And of course, I don't think they've released an album of original material since the late 80s. Might have been, was it 2300 Jackson Street, or did they do something after that?
Yeah, 2300 Jackson Street.
Yeah. So we haven't heard much music from them in the way of studio recorded material since then. They said that there'd be a new album coming. They kind of just said it in passing, though. I don't know whether they meant like original material or a re-release or whatever, but it sounds like that we've got a pretty interesting year ahead.
So when I saw that, I got excited because as much as I'm a fan of Michael, I am also a fan of the family, all 9 children. And so to get, a documentary about the family is very exciting. And the hope is that, we will get some unreleased material. And that's the one thing that I've always been, and I have a few friends, and we're in a group chat, and we always talk about how we want, some unreleased material. There's got to be some unreleased material from those Gamble and Huff sessions. There's got to be something from the Destiny sessions. And so anything that I can get, I'll be happy. And I'm not sure how much more we don't know, especially as fans. Now they may be saying that for just the casual Jackson fan or people who like them and know of them. So I'm not sure how much more they can reveal that people like us wouldn't know. But I'm always excited for that. So I'm hoping that it comes to fruition and there's some music out of it, whether it's new or old, but I just want something. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree, Shawn. And I've got to ask you, where do you stand on, say, for example, the Jacksons' music post when Michael was really involved with them? So, for example, that 2300 Jackson Street album, do you listen to that one with the same fondness as you do with the stuff that Michael was on as well?
I do. And I'm a huge fan of the entire family. So although Michael stood out, I really believe that, as a group, he performed much better with them. And I think, Jermaine and Randy, I think were outstanding on that album. The cut I got a lot of radio airplay in Detroit. And so I was always disappointed that didn't take off.
I think Teddy Riley might have produced that from memory.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so that was a monster cut for me. And so I liked 2300 Jackson Street. And I wish they had done more. For me, I wish Randy in particular had done more. I think he had a lot of talent. And I know I've read an interview where Michael talked about how if Randy was a little bit more motivated, and I think he even called him lazy at one point. And so I just wished he would have done more.
Yeah.
And Jermaine had all of his albums I thought were very good.
My favorite song off 2300 Jackson Street is I think is it called Nothing That Compares to You? I love that one.
Yeah, that was the lead single. Yep.
That's great. Jason, are you looking forward to this doco?
Well, yes, they did one before, remember? And it was pretty cool. They had, I think it was an A&E, and I enjoyed that one pretty well. I think them saying that there's something new, I think is more marketing than anything else. Or maybe they do believe that it is new because, of course, we've never seen it. So anything they make, it will be new to us. Whatever they make, whatever they do, anything they show, their houses, their cars, or whatever, everything's new. We don't know their private lives. They're very private people. But the previous series, I remember there was not much about Michael. They didn't mention him that much. Only the kids came in I think one episode. And that was pretty much it when it came to Michael. So it is more about them and what they do. And if it is, that is great because I enjoy that first episode, that first series. And I always wanted to have a little more of that. So I don't know if this is season 2 or is something completely different. I'm kind of intrigued to see what this is about. But yeah, excited. Anything Jackson related, I'm always happy to see.
Yeah, I think they did one episode that addressed because Michael passed away while they were filming it. And so they did pause and they did an episode addressing it.
Well, I'm always excited for the potential of some unreleased material. We love to eat, as the kids say on Stan Twitter. I think a lot of people focus on the Jacksons as individuals, and like rightfully so, as they've all solidified like their own legacies and everything. But it'll be nice to hear them as a unit in this current age in their own words, because so many people misconstrue the things that they say, and I hope we get to learn something new in this documentary. And as far as an album, it'd be interesting just to see what they do like in this current age with the current music space, since everything is more geared towards TikTok. Like, are they going to stay with their original sound, or are they going to kind of try to integrate into the modern space?
Whoa.
I think Tito gives us a good idea of where they stand in the music style and type. And if I like Tito's music, so yeah, good. I like it. I'm really hoping to see what they do, as you say, in this new era, the Jacksons.
Good points, Hannah. I never even considered about the sort of music of now with the TikTok influence and stuff like that. I was just wondering personally, I was like, I guess they would sort of try and stay in their zone and try and capture that market that grew up with them, like a nostalgia act kind of thing. But there is that chance that they could, jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and try and do something a bit more current. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, that's true. And if you look at Tito's his latest 2 albums, I think the latest one is a little bit more organic and sort of like that bluesy, rocky Tito that we always sort of wanted. The one before that did have a bit more of a pop influence. And from memory, I think it might have even been produced by his son, Tarrell, potentially. I might be getting that wrong. But I know that Tarrell is now performing with the brothers. As basically a member of the Jacksons at this point in their live shows. So it makes me think if he's sort of hanging out with them on that level professionally, and yes. I mean, we know that Tarrell's such an amazing songwriter and producer in his own right, there's a chance that we might get a Tarrell-produced Jacksons album.
As long as we get something.
That would be interesting.
Let's go.
I don't mind who does it. Let's just give us
Absolutely.
something. That'll be fine.
I'll put in a plug for Jermaine. I would love for him to be involved with the music on the music side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. The last I had heard, he is completely exited the entertainment industry totally and living his best life in the Middle East.
Okay.
So who knows about the odds of that happening, but let's go. I'm ready for that too.
Yes.
I think there's also a chance that we could get some good stuff in the documentary. I mean, I guess it probably will be about their history, because 8 parts is a lot to make about what they're up to now. I think that if they do like a deep dive into the past and the history of the family from start to finish, I think that would be a really cool opportunity. There is potentially some crossover there with what Taj is doing, but I think from a family perspective, I mean, that's going to be a totally different angle to what Taj will probably be going for. But hey, there's room for lots of stuff. I think it's a good time to do it as well because, the biopic's coming out. We know that once that lands, the world, if it is as successful as what everybody is saying it's going to be, then the world's attention is going to be on Michael, his family, and what they do next. So I think the timing is pretty good, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I just think, to your point, that if they do a deep dive, we've heard that Motown story, and Janet and her documentary. They recounted it there as well. I think they need to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
There are parts of their career that just get overlooked and overshadowed, of course, by Michael's success. And I think that period, I'm a big fan of that period between 1976 and 81, where they get full control. I think that is an opportunity for them to really dive deep into that era and talk about what it meant for them to take control, what it meant for them to, be able to, put the music out that they wanted. So I think it's an opportunity for that, and I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I agree, Shawn.
I was thinking that it was going to be more like a reality show, but if it's actually a documentary, then of course, in a documentary, there's way more chances we will learn things that we've never heard before because there's so many stories that we have no clue. Every day we learn something new about Michael. Every day we learn something new about the Jacksons in that era. So if they are really honest with themselves and be like, let's just get it out, it could be a very impactful documentary then, because there's so many stories we have no clue about.
I agree.
Absolutely. They've always really been guarded around how public they want to be with what their families had to go through, whether that's their Motown interview training or whether it's just that family idea of, not airing dirty laundry. But they've gone through some very difficult times where, just in terms of Michael, let's think about that, whether it, be all the different times they intervened and tried to save him from his dependencies or, the impact that the allegations would have had on them as a family. Mm-hmm. There's lots of things to explore behind the scenes that we haven't really heard about.
Exactly. Yeah. And we come from Janet's documentary as well, where we learn a lot of things. Yeah. And if it's in that venue in that way, well, then it looks to be a really good documentary then, if they do it like Janet did it, because, oh my God, that documentary gave us a lot to talk about.
Yes. There's a lot of gaps that, they can fill with the documentary. And so I wouldn't want them to kind of rehash some of the stories that we already know. Mm-hmm. But if they just use it as a gap filler and kind of give us their perspective on things, give us their perspective on how their lives changed through Thriller, how their lives changed after the group was over, the interventions that Jamon talked about with Michael, the proposed tour. I'd love to hear more about the Jacksons tour with Janet opening for them. I'd love to hear, the thoughts behind that and why that never took place. So it could really be, like I said, a way for them to fill in a lot of the gaps that us diehard fans have, and, that could really, shed light for casual fans.
Yeah, in some ways, I'm more excited about this than the biopic, because we know the biopic's going to be, a movie about Michael. This is going to be real history, a possibility to hear some stories we've never heard before. So bring it on. All right, on to our next news story. This is another article from MJ Vibe. We just want to thank MJ Vibe, actually, just for a second. They've just kicking goals with how they're handling news in the MJ world at the moment. Absolutely brilliant. I think every single article that we have in our show notes that are shaping the discussion today comes straight from MJ Vibe. So to Pez and Seb and the whole team over at MJ Vibe and Kingvention, doing great. Thank you very much for supporting what we do at the MJCast as well. We wouldn't be able to do what we do in our news episodes without you guys. So the next topic we're going to talk about is an article that they put up called "Don't Stop Till Kamala Harris is President," and it's all about the Democratic National Convention that happened between August 19th and 22nd in the United States, and for those of you or listeners who don't really know or understand what that might be, because you might be from a different country, that's where all the delegates of the United States Democratic Party ceremonially got together and presented their vote to nominate the vice president, Kamala Harris, and her running mate, Tim Walz, for the 2024 presidential election. And during that particular event, there was a lot of music that was mixed by somebody called DJ Cassidy, who created a playlist. And his goal was to pair music with all the different states or delegates that were speaking. Apparently, it took him about a month to get that together, and he collaborated with the different delegations to select songs that embodied unity and celebration and the states that those delegates were representing. Now, why this is Michael Jackson connected is because when we got to Indiana, it was the song "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." And I thought that was really fitting, seeing as obviously the Jacksons come from Gary, Indiana. And it was, I just think that's really cool. Really cool. Great to see Michael represented in that way. Now, I've got to ask our American guests. Now, we've got 3 American guests here on the show today. What is the climate like for you guys right now in the States leading up to this election? And I think it's like 60 days or something away.
Who wants to go first?
Because Q and I, we're just little old Australians looking in from the outside.
Everything's on fire.
I want to move to Australia.
Yeah, I want to move to Australia.
Go for it, Hannah. Go for it. I want to know.
I feel like everything's just on fire here, and it's, I don't know.
It's
madness. A little scary.
It is pretty scary, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, everything happened, the attempted assassination, and it's like a movie. I don't know what's going on. It's hard to choose somebody. It's hard to see what's going on because everything is crazy. The news gives you all kinds of sides of the story. You don't know what's going on. So I just enjoyed that Democratic convention. That's all I did. There was music. I was like, okay, this is nice. They made like a show of it. It was a show. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Now they're getting into this pop thing. And kudos to the DJ. I really enjoyed that DJ guy. I didn't know they were doing this. And I saw Lil Jon came out for Atlanta, Georgia with Turn Down for What? And I was like, oh, wow.
That was great.
That is amazing. I like this show. I vote for them now, because it was great. It was so good. But California didn't choose Kamala Harris for whatever reason. I still don't know why. And then Hawaii was Bruno Mars. I missed the Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, though. I didn't stay enough for that one because there's so many states. But I'm so glad to hear that they did that. And thank you. Thank you for choosing that. Awesome.
I think Megan Thee Stallion was at one of them.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even know. But that's just, oh, man. It's just a little weird. Why is it like a concert when like this is our country? Like I don't know. It's just weird to me. And I think the song
it's
for my
show.
state. I mean, yeah, I think the song for my state was some song by John Legend, which kind of, I won't say much there, but
For Texas was Texas Hold'em by Beyonce.
So yeah, as far as Michael is concerned, I'm always glad when he's acknowledged in this way. You even look at the Olympics, excuse me. They were incorporating his music. Was it the synchronized swimming team? I don't know which country, but they were doing Michael. They were using his music. So I'm always glad when they're acknowledging him, and especially tying him to Indiana, because believe it or not, he is the most famous. That family is the most famous family to come out of Indiana, and so I'm happy to see and hear that.
Yeah, me too, because it's so hard for us fans to go through this whole, time where they canceled Michael Jackson a couple years back. It was so hard for us.
They tried to cancel him.
Well, of course they tried. And when we see these things, it's so refreshing. It's so good. If he just feels so good because he's not canceled. You can't cancel that guy. Olympics, politics, basketball, anything. They always playing Michael. I go to the baseball game. They play Michael Jackson.
Yes.
And every time I hear it, I'm like, yeah. I go to the basketball games. He's there. Super Bowl. He's there. You can't cancel Michael. And I'm glad all these people that are in the entertainment industry or politics, they acknowledge him, and he's still there. He's present. He's here. He's there. More present than ever. So I'm really glad. I'm really glad every time I hear Michael anywhere on these big events.
Listen, my daughter's dance company, their theme this year is Michael Jackson.
That's
so
awesome.
What? That's so
yes,
cool.
yes. Their theme,
that's great.
Their competition theme, and their recital theme will be Michael Jackson. So I'm going to give a shout out to Mary Skiba School of Dance in Clinton Township, Michigan. Go look them up. Give them a lot of love. They announced it last month, and the girls came home, and they were like, "You ready?" And I said, "Well, for what?" She said, "Our theme is." They made me guess, and I was like, "What? Michael Jackson?" And they were like, "Yes." And so they knew I was excited, and so so you can't cancel Michael. He was never going to be canceled, and so I'm excited, and so. I'll let you guys know when their recital and their competition, and I'll be sharing all their videos. So give them some love.
I go to these events every year here in Houston. You know, they have these touring imitators, you know, and they come to Houston to the House of Blues. They go all over the country, and I go in there. I don't know anybody, right? I've always been a Michael Jackson fan, a lonely Michael Jackson fan. So I go in there by myself and maybe a friend. But I'm just so happy to see all these people that don't know each other. Of course, they all get together to see this Michael Jackson band, you know, and it's the same way I feel when I hear Michael music on big special events around the world, and I'm just so happy when that happens. And when the schools do it, like in your case, he's alive, you know, he's well alive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. And just wrapping up this topic and moving on to the next one, I got to say, like, you know, for you guys in America, it must be pretty wild. Like in Australia, I mean, I've never been to America to visit, but I can sort of see and feel through, you know, watching all the press coverage and everything around it, how much friction there is between people leading up to this election. Like it is a tense, an absolutely tense time, and this is something we don't generally experience in Australia. When we have federal elections, not to that. Well, not to the level.
We've got our own potato on the other side that is gunning for, you know, his position in our next election. And I think Australian politics sort of tails behind and follows the example of American politics so much. Like, God, from Howard days onwards, choices that our Prime Minister makes come directly from choices that US presidents make, and they toe the line and they follow along.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Australian politics doesn't have disagreements or important issues. I'm talking about how, you know, the impact on populations and, you know, people becoming as heated. In Australia, much less money is spent on elections. The election cycle is much shorter.
Yes.
It's only like we only really have election campaigns that last maybe, you know, 6 weeks or something like that before the actual election, if that. It's really quite short. And I don't know. I would just say, looking in from the outside, the choice to me is pretty clear. You got one candidate who's, you know, platforming for unity and hope and inclusion and all of that kind of thing. And I mean, yeah, I hope enough people rally behind Kamala. That's all I'll say from my perspective.
I just remember back to when the Jacksons used to tour, and they used to have the enroll to vote sort of provision set up at concerts for people to enroll to vote. Like, I think the Jackson family have always been quietly involved, maybe not so quietly involved in politics. So when people say, oh, you know, you can't get politics into a discussion with the Jacksons or Michael Jackson, I think that's absolute BS, because there were like enroll to vote desks and stuff set up at concerts in the past. Michael performed at Democratic conventions and was on stage.
Clinton's inauguration.
Yeah, so many things. Michael was involved in like political campaigns from like Reagan all the way through. So get political because it affects you, it affects your family.
And I agree with Q about the fact that what happens in America, many other countries follow. Argentina chose somebody very close to Trump. Right now, Mexico has its first ever woman president. In if America is to have its woman president as well, I cannot imagine what that would be like, because Mexico is the first number one partner of America on business, and two women doing that, I would really like to see that.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
It's time.
But I would like to say, in terms of politics, it's always interesting. In America, there's just clearly the two-party system with Democrats and Republicans. But as far as, the Jacksons are concerned, Michael, obviously, went to the White House when Reagan was in office. As we all know, he has a very well documented relationship with Donald Trump. He did the Clinton inauguration. So he seemed kind of down the middle, always down the middle. And it's quite interesting that you have more conservative pundits who come out and speak in support of Michael. You had Rush Limbaugh. Now, listen, I'm no Rush Limbaugh fan, so I'm not taking a side either way. But you had people like Rush Limbaugh, who during the trial was defending Michael. You've had Megyn Kelly. And again, I'm no Megyn Kelly fan, but she has come out and spoken in defense of Michael Jackson. You have John Ziegler, who is very conservative. He's another very loud voice in support of Michael. You don't really have that on the other side. You maybe have Al Sharpton, who is a family friend, but Al Sharpton tends to be he doesn't go as hard on his platform as he should. Now, when he's in his own area with the National Action Network, he speaks very loudly. But when he's on MSNBC, that voice isn't as loud for Michael. And I can say that I was always very disappointed in Barack Obama's reaction to Michael's death, alluding to the allegations and alluding to his troubled life, which I didn't think was appropriate. So it's just always very interesting. And I find that more on the Republican conservative side right now are the ones who will speak for Michael's innocence, and they will come out, but you don't see that on the other side.
But they didn't play MJ at the Republican convention.
I agree. But you will see.
Oh my God!
No, but you will see clips of Donald Trump rallies where they're playing Billie Jean and playing Michael's music. So again, I'm not taking a side one way or the other. I'm just pointing that out, and of course, Donald Trump will speak of Michael very fondly to this day, and so I think that. But Kamala Harris said her favorite Jackson was Tito. So she always had a crush on Tito. So again, it's quite interesting how they viewed. And so. Well,
Shawn, why do you think that is? Do you think one of the criticisms of the left is that many of the left can be skittish in terms of supporting somebody that they think, might be cancelled. So they don't want to align themselves with that. Do you think that might be a potential reason for that, or?
Well, let's just go there. When you look at the Me Too movement, that was, and they again tried to rope Michael back into that. And that was, if you look at the Me Too movement, that was primarily driven by the left. And you had the conservative side, the right, calling it, BS. And so, and again, you had people like Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah, right.
She jumped on the anti-Michael. So again, you have all of these folks on the left who came and they were a part of trying to cancel Michael. But you always had the people on the right who were, and I think, and a lot of people gave Randy a hard time for this, but Randy came out in support of, and he made some tweets and some Instagram posts seeming to support Donald Trump. And I could understand it from the perspective of he probably looked at it as, when my brother needed someone to speak up for him, Donald Trump did, and no one else did. So I could see it from that standpoint. Not that I agreed with him, but I could see it from that standpoint. So I just think in terms of politics, it's a dirty game. It's a dirty sport. Mm-hmm. And, you just have to, my whole take on it is at the federal level, the big money selects who they want to select to run for office. And what really counts for me and my family is the local election. So my school board, my, city council, police chief, those that will directly impact me on a daily basis. Kind of leave the federal elections to the big money people, because it's all going to affect us the same anyway.
I agree with Shawn. When you hear Obama's speech or Obama's statement and Donald Trump's statement on Michael Jackson's death and legacy, to my ears, Trump's statement sounds much more honest than Obama's. And it's been like that. Like he said, like Shawn said, with everybody else around the Democratic team or people.
And I'll say this now: save your hate tweets. I'm not tipping my hand one way or the other in terms of which way I'm leaning. So save your hate tweets. I'm only pointing out what's
the facts
out there. It's just the facts.
That's right. Yeah, I still don't know. I'm waiting for the last. I think I'll decide at the last moment. So I'm undecided.
That is wild for me to hear, like that. You're going to wait to the last minute.
We are only a couple of days away from the first debate, and I get the feeling that this particular debate is going to have a pretty big impact on the eventual decision of the public.
We'll be watching.
Yes.
I'm just scared. Still scared. That's about all I can really say. I don't know how this one's going to go.
Here we go again.
Moving to Australia. I'll just go to Australia.
Let's go. It's great here. Let's go.
Yeah.
Just go and make sure all your friends and family are enrolled to vote, please, people. And the polls. I'm still so scarred from the polls when, Hillary lost. So don't believe the polls and become complacent. Please, I encourage all people, this is not just in America, but everywhere, vote, use your voice, use your power, because you do have a voice and you do have power. So please, Americans, this is a big one. It doesn't just affect you. Go and roll, and please do not be complacent. Vote.
And
vote.
Q, I will agree with that, and I'll add, people have to vote their conscience and not be bullied into voting for one candidate or another, or one party or another. Vote what's best for you, what's best for your family, what's best for your community. And I think sometimes that gets lost, and we look at these elections and these candidates as almost like sports, like fans, I want my team to win. Well, it's not about your team winning so much as how, if that person wins, how is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect my family? And you need to vote, for for the candidate that has a platform that addresses your needs. And I can say, as a Black American, I don't see either candidate, either party, addressing the needs of Black Americans. And I'll stop right there.
Where's the claps?
Some great words of wisdom from Shawn. Thank you very much. Let's bring it out to another news topic. This one to do with Michael's birthday, his 66th birthday in late August, and the estate's Vegas event, which I don't know anybody personally who went to the Vegas event. You guys might know some folks who went, but from everything I've heard from sort of third-hand information, it was a particularly uninspiring event. And this is the estate we're talking about. So that's, really saying something. So, of course, there were lots of lovely things that happened all around the place at Forest Lawn or Gary and, the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But when it came to what the estate had to offer in Vegas, essentially, from what I understand, there was another MJ1 performance, which are usually pretty good. But this time around, we had a presentation from Karen Langford, the estate's archivist, who she usually handles these kind of things, especially Q&As and stuff at the official events. And essentially, from what I've read, aside from the Q&A with Anthony and Tony and Rich Talawiga, which I think they did last year anyway, but they did it again. But this time around, from what I have read, Karen Langford unveiled a new profile picture for Michael's social media at his birthday.
Wow. Amazing.
I know, right?
Breaking news.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that.
I mean, just when we thought the bar couldn't get any lower.
I mean, last time we had Mark Ronson's what I think horrible mix, but I don't know.
Oh God, a new profile picture. Jesus.
Shout out to Getty Images.
Right? Most of the time it has watermarks from some fan club. This is nuts.
Right.
Well, that was the big news. This time they haven't used Getty Images. I can't believe it. I mean, well, I can actually. But, I mean, we're leading into probably what's going to be the biggest year for Michael Jackson, you know,
right?
Maybe posthumously. Like, when we think about it, like, let's think about the Queen biopic, the Bohemian Rhapsody. Do you think there's ever going to be a bigger year for Queen than when that came out? Like, this next 12 months is going to be huge. This was an opportunity for them to really lead into that. You know, any old fan could come up with better ideas, you know, a Q&A with the director or like anything. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this film, whether we want it or not, or whatever we think about it or not, it's going to be massive for Michael. And this was a platform that they could have been drumming up real excitement for this next 12 months. But
I mean, they have had previews for the movie, right? In some festivals and stuff.
Correct.
Why not use that as well?
Exactly.
That would be a great platform right there. Come on.
Come on.
Not fit for purpose. I can't add much to this because they're just so disappointing at every turn. And like you said, this is going to be one of the, if not the biggest year coming up with this film release. And I absolutely think the estate are going to drop the ball at every single turn. They're not going to take advantage of it at all with decent merch or, like, you know, putting emphasis on the music or emphasis on Michael or using fan events like the boring ass Vegas birthday thing, which I don't even remember seeing a post on social media about at all. So I didn't even know that it had happened. You know, Kingvention's coming up. Why the hell are they not partnering with Kingvention as well to like boost that? Like, they're not holding their own conventions. They're not paying for conventions. Fans are paying for it. So at least they could do is actually support it. And no, they are not fit for purpose in any way at all. I've just got nothing else to add.
I agree with you. And I think there's so many missed opportunities for the estate in promoting the legacy of Michael, promoting the legacy of the family, especially leading into 2025. Now, maybe they're holding back in 2025. They're going to bust it wide open and give us all the things that we've been asking for. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but you know, there's so many, you know, opportunities, whether it's pairing or connecting with all the different, you know, YouTube DJs or producers who are, you know, reinventing Michael's work, you know, fan events. You know, there's so much stuff that can be done. I still don't understand why there hasn't been an investment in Gary, Indiana, and making that you know, as often as I can, if I'm going in that direction, I always stop at 2300 Jackson Street. And so it's a magnet for fans. And so I don't understand why there's been no investment there. I mean, that's a place where people would come and would flock to. And so again, missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And it's very disappointing.
In my show, I'm usually the only one that is neutral, and I try to give them the benefit of the doubt every time. I do in my show, but I mean, come on. This is so obvious. You know, help me help you guys. Help me help you guys. You have it right here, right now. And, they have so many other items in storage. They could show anything from Michael Jackson's personal collection of anything. A drawing, a painting, a sculpture, something. Nothing? A profile picture? Come on.
They can do a convention themselves. Every year, and it would sell out, and they would make money. But of course, they're making millions of dollars every year, not doing any of this. So I guess they figure, hey, we don't need to do it. Again, disappointing.
We'll talk about it, but they just acquired the Toto's music. They could have played a song right there.
Yeah.
It's still it's not 100% in the web. Somebody can record it on the phone, but I mean, we already heard those anyways.
Yeah.
So, but they could have played it. It would have been nice. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to help them out.
But that's the kind of thing that really doesn't cost them a huge amount of money, but it means so much to fans. If you play a song, it doesn't even have to be a rare song. It can be just an alternate take of a song or the stems or whatever. And then you have the people that are alive today there to talk about it on stage, break it down for us like what Brad does.
Yeah. I would have liked to be there. I would think that from far away, like, they play that nice song. That would have been nice to be there. At least for the whole world, I can't get to go.
Yeah. But not even
that. Yeah, I don't understand it. They don't even have to do unique stuff. Like Shawn's saying, all they have to do is support the people that are doing it. They just have to back Kingvention. They just have to back Brad Sunderberg. They just have to back, Marcos Cabotto or whoever these people that are doing the thing. They can just, invest in them and then partner with them. And then automatically from a fan's perspective, it also becomes an estate project.
Yeah.
They've got the people that are doing it to an expert level already. They just have to support them.
The fans are doing the heavy lifting, and they don't have to do anything but just give the thumbs up, give the okay.
I mean, we do it all the time without even trying. You know what I'm saying? Without even trying, all the fans are doing stuff for Michael all the time. And these guys have all the power. They have everything at their disposal.
Yeah.
And they do zero.
I mean, isn't their job to raise money and manage Michael Jackson's estate and, generate that income? But it just seems like they're allergic to money at this point because they're not even trying to branch out to those different avenues. And I feel like it leads to things like what happened with, was that Brad Sundberg with his laptop getting stolen? Like, people are so thirsty for content. They're doing things like that. If they would just do something, I feel like it wouldn't be like that.
But Hannah, they're not.
There it is.
But Hannah, the thing is, I think their attitude is that we're making billions of dollars every year. We're making money, and we don't have to do that. And I think and if that's their attitude, then that sucks for us as fans. But again, that appears to be the way they're approaching it. They don't need to do it.
And when you look at how they're making the money, they're doing it through asset sales. They're doing it through ways that benefit basically John Branca and nobody else, even against the wishes of the family. We've got another news story, which we may as well even just jump into right now because it's completely connected to it. But Katherine Jackson versus the estate has been a legal battle that's been going on recently for 2 years, where Katherine, the primary beneficiary of Michael's estate, has been asking the executors to not sell his catalog. She does not want it to happen. This is Michael's 94-year-old grieving mother has asked the lawyers that are representing her and Michael's children to not sell his catalog, but they are still doing it. And so you look at the Neverland sale, you look at the Beatles sale, you look at the catalog sale. I mean, it's just asset after asset being sold off to basically benefit John Branca. And of course it has, benefit to the beneficiaries as well, massive financial benefit. But when you've got Michael's own mother standing up saying she doesn't want this to happen, yet they still want to do it, you can see where, they are generating a lot of money, but it's happening in a way that I still think and stand by that it's not. I don't lightly say this, but I can't imagine Michael would have wanted this outcome.
Definitely not. That's why Katherine is doing it. She's not doing it because of her. She's doing it because she knows what Michael would have wanted.
Mm.
And by doing that, she also represents all of us, the fans, that we don't want that to happen. Now, as I said, I usually try to be neutral. So I always give the state the benefit of the doubt of strategically, business-wise, is this the best moment to sell those assets? Because if we wait longer, would they be depreciated or not? I do not know. Maybe they have more information than I do, and that's why they decide to do that.
I can't imagine how could Michael's music depreciate in value. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I teach a lot of school kids, right? And
Mhm.
I'm telling you, there is a hunger for music from the past.
Right.
Kids, yeah, of course, there's new artists that they love and different, rappers or whatever. That's great, but older music from the 80s and the 90s is more popular now than ever. I just can't imagine a world where Michael's own music would depreciate in value. They sold the catalog. The rulings permitted them to proceed with a $600 million sale. Now, that's a lot of money, and that's obviously going to benefit Katherine and the
Right.
children in an immediate sense.
Right.
But if they've already sold Neverland and the Beatles catalog, why do they need to keep selling? Why do they need to sell that right now? They've already made a massive amount of money. I can't imagine they have any immediate financial need. I mean, I'm speaking like not with much authority here. I don't know what they're investing in. But I mean, Michael fought for nearly his whole life to retain his catalog. One of his greatest fears was losing it to John Branca. It's hard not to get angry.
We don't know. I don't know how long does a copyright stands like for the author to own its own music before it becomes public. But maybe they're also thinking about that. Let's say it's 100 years. Well, you still have 50 more years to go. But is John Branca going to be there then? No. So for him and his team, it's best to do it now.
Right now. That's exactly it.
But unfortunately, though, what we're seeing is they have taken the emotion out of it and they're treating it strictly as a business. It's you have to ask, how much of this do we lay at Michael's feet, in terms of not having a will properly executed, not having his affairs in order. And again, I'm not blaming Michael in any way, shape, or form, because there could have been some, and there are allegations out there that the will that has been submitted to the court was not an actual will, that Michael was not in LA when he was actually in New York when the will was signed. So he couldn't have signed it. So that's always an issue or concern. And so it's just very disappointing that an artist like Michael, with the legacy, for his affairs to be like it is now, is very disappointing. And the same thing with Prince. I mean, to die without a will, it almost seems irresponsible. But it's hard for me to believe when you're controlling that much material and that much money that, you can neglect that one area to protect your family for the rest of their lives. So it's as far as the state is concerned, I think it's a business now. It's not about the emotion, the fan emotion of Michael. It's a business.
It's just a business. That's what it is.
Well, not to get all conspiracy theory on everybody, but let's not forget that the primary lawyer that Michael was working with, the primary attorney that he was working with, Peter Lopez, just before Michael died, Peter was found dead after Michael died, just before this will that Shawn's talking about came into existence.
Right. Again, on this, not fit for purpose. That's all I've got to say.
It's just disheartening to see. I mean, Miss Catherine's fought so hard for her son ever since his death, and even prior to that, and to see that this is the end result, it just hurts. And Michael fought his whole life to keep that catalog, and now it's gone. So it's like everything that he went through was just for nothing almost, it seems. This was supposed to be something that his children were going to be able to live off of like for years and years. And like, obviously they're probably set for the rest of their lives, but I don't know. I guess it's just the principle of the thing.
Yeah, agreed. And it's kind of like that's why I feel a little funny about this biopic coming out, because it's kind of like here's all the real stuff that's going on, but look the other way. Look what we've got coming out soon. put your attention on that, but just don't look over here. But I guess, I mean, it's something we do need to talk about because on the other hand, I've got to kind of keep in my head that you can be angry about something, but excited about something else at the same time, I guess. So next year, obviously, we've got the biopic coming out. The estate, we already just talked about how they failed to discuss it in any real capacity at Michael's 66th birthday event. But it shouldn't be too far away from when we have a trailer for this thing. We know that they've been showing a lot of footage at different film festivals happening around the place. And I don't think I've asked you guys yet. You haven't been on the show since the news really got announced. I'm really curious what all of you guys think about the biopic coming out, how you're feeling about it, and whether you're looking forward to it or not, and why. Hannah, let's start with you.
Well, I'm kind of trying to stay neutral about it, mainly because this is not geared toward us as super massive MJ fans. It's for the general public, just like with MJ the musical. So there might be some errors or things might be exaggerated, like for the sake of film. But overall, I believe that Michael does deserve a proper biopic, and I'm hoping that it's massive as Michael's legendary status, and it brings in newer fans. But then that's also kind of like, I've seen a lot of discourse online about people talking about like the newer fans are going to try to like jump on the Michael bandwagon, and all of us have been here before and we're defending him. And like that whole thing I just think is stupid, because I feel like the same thing kind of happened around the time that Michael passed, where like the newer fans that came in were just known as fans that became fans after his death. And it's like anyone that becomes a fan right this second will be a fan after Michael Jackson's death because he's been gone for so long. Nonetheless, I'm just hoping that maybe, just maybe, this will get the estate ready to do something. More merch, more like maybe vinyl record releases, more CDs, like something. The streets will want it.
Such good points, Hannah. Such good points. Yes, absolutely. I went to our little local MJ birthday charity lunch that we do every year for Michael's birthday, and we raise a little bit of money for a couple of charities. And even though it was a smaller group this year, one of the main things that was brought up, people wanted to talk about it, was the filming and the release of the biopic. And it was fun to have something to talk about and just hear people's views on. It was. I think generally at our little gathering, we were all looking forward to it, and we were hopeful. We've seen, the casting of Jafar, and with that, I think gave us all a little bit of hope. And the budget for it, this isn't a little TV movie. This is they're putting effort into it, and that made us hopeful. So yeah, hopefully the estate hasn't got much to do with it, because we've seen their track record. Let the filmmakers do it, let the creatives do it, and then they won't drop the ball.
I'm excited, just in the sense that they have a lot of good actors involved, outstanding director. So from that perspective, I'm very, very excited. A little curious as they were rolling out all of the actors that were going to play family members. They haven't rolled out who's going to play Janet, who's going to play Randy. So I'm kind of curious as to what's going on there, because if Randy and Janet are going to be bit players in this, then that it makes you wonder why that is. And I know Randy has had his run-ins and with the estate. So I sincerely hope that this is not the estate, trying to show Randy who's boss. But if it's like Hannah said, that they're not going to tell us anything that us true fans, us super fans don't already know. I'm more interested in the storytelling, how they're going to tell the story. The time period. Are they going to start in the early 1960s and go all the way up, or are they going to just start at the Motown? And I'm just curious in terms of how that story is going to be told, and where it will end, and will it go up to his death? I've heard many different things about, it's going to cover 3 decades. Well, which 3 decades are we talking? The 70s, 80s, and 90s? It'll be interesting. I'm more interested in the storytelling, and I sincerely hope Randy and Janet will have more of a larger role in this.
I'm more like Hannah in this thing where I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst because it's a state thing. They do have great people. So on my side, I think they got great producers, directors, and actors. So there's everything there to make a great quality product. There's this coming from people that did the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, which was a hit and a big, big movie, Oscar worthy. So am I hoping for that? Maybe I'm hoping for a little too much, but yes, I'm hoping for that. But it's coming from the state. So I don't know what they're going to do. And there's a feeling in our community over here that maybe this is not going to be that great because some of us think, well, Jafar is not an actor. What is he going to do? So there's a lot of doubts on that end. And well, that's pretty much it. I don't know what's going to happen. I am hoping for the best, but I know there's other people out there that are thinking, maybe it's just going to be like the other movie they did before. I hope it's not like that because they have all the elements to do a great.
Which one? The Flex Alexander one or the?
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking
It can't be like that.
There was a mini movie, like a Jackson's.
Oh, the American Dream?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, I don't know. Some
great.
people didn't like it over here. So I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like the Michael characterization, at least. The story was great, but the Michael in the movie wasn't the best. I don't think.
Which Michael?
The old one, the older one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that Jafar does a great job in this thing. I've seen him singing, I've seen him dancing, and I believe he's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be as great as the guy in Bohemian Rhapsody, but I hope he does a good job. I'm just hoping for the best. I'm hoping. I have hope.
I don't have too much worry about the performance part of it. I think all the footage there has been footage that's leaked out of, Jafar dancing, and I think it looks great. And I think there was some footage of him on stage. I think it might have been at the Bad Tour. It looked great. I'm not concerned about that. Maybe a little bit about the acting, but I'm more concerned about whether the real story of Michael's going to be told.
Right. Well, it wasn't told in Bohemian Rhapsody. Bohemian Rhapsody was a nice story, but it was not real. There was a lot of things that were not even historically, chronologically were not right. I'm a Queen fan, and I know there's a lot of things that were not right. So coming from those people, I believe the story will not be chronologically right either.
Yeah. I mean, the final chapter of Michael's story is about paranoia. It's Michael is terrified of these vultures coming in around him to steal his catalog, and the people that end up getting it are the people that just mysteriously appear on his doorstep weeks before he dies. Like, that's the story.
Yeah.
And can that be told?
I believe that it's going to be very similar to Bohemian Rhapsody, where the Queen fans said, well, it's not the real story, but it's a pretty good damn story and really good movie. I think it's going to happen like that. It's made for the general public, but we as fans will be like, well, they missed this, and that, but it was a pretty good damn movie, man. So I think it's going to be like that in the end, that we will be content with what we see, even though we know that not everything was factual.
Yeah. The bit that gives me hope is looking out what it's going to be like a year, 2 years after the film comes out. If the mission is to try to get Michael out to the public again so people view him positively post leaving Neverland and celebrate and appreciate his music again, I mean, I think that's the mission, and I think they're really going to accomplish that with any hope. I mean, people don't probably sit down and watch Bohemian Rhapsody much today, right? I mean,
no.
I would say a lot of people would be tuning in and listening to Queen music because the movie might have brought them there. But how much hype is there around Bohemian Rhapsody today? Probably not that much at all. And it might be the same with the Michael thing. It draws in a heap of new people that love Michael Jackson. The movie does its job, and then we all just carry on loving actual Michael.
Yeah, it's a TikTok thing.
But I'm also hopeful that they've talked about humanizing Michael, and so I'm hopeful that they will take the opportunity to tell his side of how he felt during the allegations, and make a case for his innocence. Not even, I shouldn't say it that way. Not make a case for his innocence, but show his innocence, make it a matter of fact, as opposed to conjecture, as allegations. And so from that perspective, I am very hopeful, even if they miss in certain parts of his life, even if they are inaccurate with the in things in chronological order, I'm okay with it if they make his side a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like they did it in the musical.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because Michael's life is like Napoleon's life. They just made that movie, and that movie, to me, it sucked because it missed a whole bunch of stuff. Napoleon's life was huge. You can't put that, or Alexander can't put that life in 2 hours. It's so hard.
Speaking of Michael's innocence, it's time to talk a little bit about another news story that's cropped up with Taj Jackson filing a complaint with the IPSO regarding a Mail on Sunday article about Michael Jackson's alleged child porn stash. The Mail on Sunday reported in April that Wade Robson and James Safechuck, who have accused Michael Jackson of abuse, wanted a cache of photos allegedly containing nude images of Jackson's victims to be unsealed by the court. But Taj filed this complaint with the Independent Press Standards Organization, the IPSO, arguing that the story misleadingly suggested that Jackson's estate accepted that the files contained child pornography, a claim that he strongly disputed. Taj argued that it was a matter of public record that the allegations of child pornography were false and that this was an inarguable matter of fact, according to the IPSO. He also contended that the newspaper had breached the editor's code of practice by not contacting the Jackson family for comment before publishing the story. And the IPSO Complaints Committee, though, unfortunately ruled that it was clear from the article that the claims were made by the accusers and were not established as fact. Taj has recently released a statement on this ruling saying that although this did not go in our favor, I will keep fighting for my uncle no matter how rigged the system is against us. It's time to expose all these lies about Michael Jackson and hold the media accountable for spreading them. This is really a story or a lie, I guess, that just has legs that just will not just go away. It just spreads and spreads and spreads that Michael allegedly had child pornography at his home in Neverland. Absolutely ridiculous. It's been disproven so many times. I don't know why it keeps getting pushed. Obviously, this is a larger part of a story in which Taj Jackson, Michael's nephew, is producing a documentary, a docu-series called Writing History, which seeks to expose the truth around Michael and the allegations. And even more than that, I think, he's recently talked about it being a bit broader and grander and more about the story of Michael and the Jackson family. I wanted to ask you guys not only just about that story, but more importantly, I think, about Writing History, the project. Taj has recently launched the website writinghistory.com, which is a lead-in to when the docuseries actually comes out. I wanted to know, did you guys have a chance to explore the website and a bit more detail on Taj's project?
When he released it, I looked at it, and I like the way it's set up, and I like the different tabs that they have for the allegations, the Bashir special, the trial, the FBI files, and Leaving Neverland. I think it's laid out very nicely, and even the preserving his legacy. But I wonder who it's for. Is it for us, or is it for who is it actually for? Because I'll be honest with you, I have given up trying to convince people about Michael. I'm a fan. People who know me know that I'm a fan. I have a Michael Jackson bumper sticker on each one of our cars. So I wear it with a badge of honor, but I don't try to convince people to like Michael Jackson or to believe in his innocence. As I think for the most part, a lot of this stuff is media driven, and it's driven by folks who are paid to get on social media and to say things about Michael. And so I think any And there are certain fan bases who they need to believe that Michael did these things, because then it allows them to elevate, whoever their artist that they love. So I like the website, and I think it's great. If it's a lead into the documentary, his docu-series, then great, and it'll get people to drive the traffic, to the website, and for them to explain a little bit more. But I'm curious as to who it's for.
I agree with Shawn. I also don't engage in trying to convince people anymore. If they tell me things which they do, they still have comments. Even people they don't know that I'm a fan, they say things and I hear them, and I don't even try to fight that. I may say a comment here and there about it, but I will not engage, because it's not up to me. It's not, they believe what they believe. I can say some things here and there, but no, I'm not going to get there. I know what Michael was. If they want to know the truth, then I get into a deeper discussion with them. But if they just want to think what they want to think, whatever. It's just one person that I don't care about. Regarding the situation with this newspaper or article, Taj doing that is great. I'm glad to hear that he's fighting for Michael, and because it's not easy. It's not easy getting into the courts or getting into situations with fake news about Michael, especially this one, which was a pretty nasty one, and that they wanted to get all these documents out and know about this situation. It's not cool. It's not cool. So I'm glad he's doing that, and he's taking the responsibility to do that, especially when it comes to a situation that is more like the Casio tracks, where is it public domain? Is it public knowledge? Is it this and that? It gets very, very tricky when it comes to, is it public? So this one got just the same way. And of course I lost because, it is public. This knowledge is public.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very stupid. And the technicalities are really, really stupid of, it's Michael. Everybody knows he's innocent anyway. So if I say this, it's okay, because everybody knows already. I don't have to state that he's innocent anyways. No, yes, bro, you do have to. You do have to. Of course, the law protects you, but as a matter of integrity and being a nice person, just put it in at the end in their note. And by the way, this is, it was proven not true. But why you want to do that? Why you want to put that there's this information out there? Makes no sense. But hey, they back themselves up with the law. The law protects them. There's nothing we can do. But I'm glad Taj is at least fighting it, to be like, there's a record saying, but hey, it's not true.
And I agree with you. And I applaud Taj for his efforts. And I have been supportive of him in the docu-series, financially and otherwise. So I'm glad that he continues to fight. And obviously, the technicalities of the law didn't work out in this particular instance. But
right.
You have to keep fighting, and that's what he said. You keep fighting, you keep filing these lawsuits. You do what you can, because they need to know that they cannot get away with just saying and doing whatever they want about his uncle, and the man that we admire so much.
Right. Someone has to do it, and I'm glad he's doing it.
Absolutely.
And as you mentioned, it might be something he could use for his own documentary later on. Then that's fine.
Right.
That's fine.
Well, people always throw it up. Well, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? Well, he's doing it. Yeah, and so that's I applaud him, and I will continue to support him and hope that he will continue to lead that charge.
Right. We do our side. I'm glad he does his side.
I think that Taj is fighting the good fight. It's just there's always going to be that double-edged sword where it's like, well, you're a Jackson. Of course you would say X, Y, and Z. Like, that's your family. You're always going to defend him, but blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately, bad news about Michael Jackson is always going to be more profitable than the truth. But as far as Taj's website, I mean, I kind of agree with Shawn. Like, who is it for? It's not, I don't think it's for us as like super fans or anything, but perhaps it's a step in the right direction, leading more towards the documentary, since he's been hinting at it for a while. I'm curious to see what's going to go on with that.
Right.
Yeah, and there's some cool stuff at the bottom of it in the announcement section where it talks about Brett Barnes now being closely involved in the writing history team, which I think, there's some good news coming out of the website. But I definitely agree about the who's it for comment, because first of all, I think it's a beautiful website. I think it's wonderfully designed. And one of the real positives of it is that it's got that section, the facts don't lie section. So this is something I've been calling for and hoping for many, many years, where you just have a simple, easy to understand article or document or something that you can point people to say, well, just go look at the facts. And if you click on those tiles, the 93 allegations, the 94 settlement, the Bashir special, if you click on that, it's just got a really, really easy to understand set of dot points which tell you about the facts. And when you explore the facts, it's really hard to walk away and go, oh, there's still doubt there. Like, it's really well laid out. I think it's fantastic. That part of the website, I think, is really well done. When you scroll down a little bit further, there's the preserving his legacy section. And this is the bit that I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'll be honest just from the outset that it's like the top half of the website is designed for people who are wanting to learn about the allegations and dive into them. And then you scroll down and it's like a mission statement or some kind of instructions for fans. And it's like how you can be, basically like how to be a good fan. So it's got like, don't attack other people. If you click on these tiles, it tells you what to do. Stream Michael Jackson music to help him get up the charts. Wear Michael clothes. Like, I don't get the...
Yes.
I don't know. Like, the top half I think is brilliant. The bottom half is like an instruction set on how to be a fan. And I don't know if that preserving his legacy bit is like, just say the media access this when more information starts to spread about writing history, the docu-series, and these are very serious allegations, even though they're, as we would all agree, baseless. Like, they're serious allegations. And so when the media start accessing it, I think they're going to want to see, to take it seriously, a serious website. And just that particular section about preserving his legacy, I just wonder whether it's going to turn the media off, or will they already be turned off by this?
So I did just have a quick, actually probably more than a quick little explore through that section, Jamon, and it is a beautiful website. And I think, yes, the top half and the very bottom are perfect for the docu-series. But yeah, this preserving the legacy possibly would be better served on another website or a different platform. Great user and functionality for it, but I'm just curious why it's on this website. I think it's all very good instructions and a great guide for fans, but not so much for the general public. And that's where, like Hannah was saying, like, who's this website for? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, that little bit did make me sort of also think that for a moment, because as great as it is to have that little resource and that sort of helpful guide, not sure if it's best suited on that platform for that mission, which is the docu-series, and like a repository for information and resources. This particular resource is directly for fans. So, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, doesn't fit as much as the other resources above.
Yeah, I just worry it's going to be a major turn-off to media. They're going to log in here and they're going to go, what's this documentary about? I'm going to try to take this seriously. And then next minute they're reading instructions on what clothes to wear to support Michael. They're not going to take a documentary about the allegations seriously if they read that.
But then could you also, and I don't know, preserving his legacy, spread the word. Could you have a link to the biopic, information about the biopic, wear MJ memorabilia, have links to buy merch, positive social media, put links to, I know there was this outstanding video by Godfrey, the comedian, put that kind of stuff up there. I mean, direct people to ways they can, wear media. I mean, wear the memorabilia, to direct them to, information instead of, this almost seems like a, finger wag to fans saying, hey, do this and don't do that. It's good. It can be, you can utilize it in a different way. Stream his music, put links there, try to form a partnership with the estate to put his music there so you can stream it.
Yeah.
I think, to me, I would think about doing it that way.
I feel like this is more so maybe a graphic that you would post on Elon's app, the artist previously known as Twitter, and kind of just like retweet it and spread it around, kind of like the fans do every year with like trying to get Thriller to make the charts. Like, I feel like it's something like that. But I also know that sometimes a lot of fans, the discourse between them and Taj on Twitter isn't always the best. And some people might try to argue back and say that he doesn't follow some of these principles. But again, it's a double-edged sword. It's hard to be in the position that he's in, especially being like a family member and everything, and trying to put out the facts about what actually happened with the allegations.
Yeah, I agree with Sean and Hannah about the fact that this is coming from a family member. If it was from a fan, then I would think it's a better. And actually, there's many websites out there with this information on the facts, on the trial and things. So for a family member to do it, I don't think it has that much of a power. But if it's for his promotion, for his documentary, then I would understand it. Other than that, like in our show, we always try to minimize these accusations. We say the fake accusations because we don't want to talk about that anymore. It doesn't exist. It didn't happen. It's a history. Yes, it's part of the history, but we don't want to acknowledge that because it didn't happen. So try to minimize it as much as possible, I think. And for him to give more light to it, I don't know. Why don't just talk about Michael? Don't talk about what didn't happen. But if it's part of the documentary, then I kind of understand it better.
Well, of course, we say these things with love, and we all obviously deeply appreciate Taj and everything he's doing. Can't wait for the docu-series to come out. Huge believers in what he's doing at the MJCast. It's going to be awesome. But of course, we also want this thing to do as well as it possibly can. So, good to talk about the new website. I'm excited, especially about the bottom announcements bit where it's talking about Brett Barnes being involved because Brett obviously has lots of great stories to tell about his time with Michael. I mean, famously, he was a child friend of Michael and traveling around touring with Michael in the very early 90s and has long supported Michael's innocence and talked about their relationship being nothing but just fun and great times. So they're the stories I think that would be really well placed in this docuseries.
I agree.
One final update regarding the allegations, and I really wish Charlie Thompson was here to help me out with this because I'm kind of out of my my zone here doing this. But a California judge ruled in favor of Michael Jackson's estate on Thursday, August 22nd, denying a request by accusers Wade Robson and James Safechuck to access the entirety of the criminal file related to child molestation allegations against Michael in Santa Barbara County and Los Angeles County dating back to the early 1990s. Listeners will remember that in earlier episodes this season, we've talked about how James and Wade are trying to access the photographs of Michael's genitalia taken during the 1993 criminal investigation to use as a part of their own court case. And here's a quote from John Carpenter, the attorney for Robson and Safechuck. It says, these evidence requests are about basic fairness so that everyone has access to the same information, says John Carpenter, the attorney for Robson and Safechuck, in a Beverly Hills courtroom before the judge dismissed his plea. He also said, it's undeniable that this evidence is relevant. We need these subpoenas not only to obtain the evidence, but to establish a foundation for other alleged evidence. The Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Michael E. Whitaker acknowledged the significance of the evidence sought, but cited procedural issues in his decision. He said, "It's clear why you want this, but there are procedural hurdles," the judge remarked. He rejected the record's request for two reasons: a 2018 ruling that quashed similar subpoenas in Robson's case before it was consolidated with Safechuck's, and the failure of Robson and Safechuck to notify third parties whose private, potentially sensitive information might be included in the sought-after documents. So I think us as fans, we can probably breathe a bit of a sigh of relief knowing that these sensitive photographs are under lock and key for the time being. I think those of us on a previous episode that discussed this all agreed it would be a horrific thing for these photographs to get out in terms of what Michael would have wanted for his own life and legacy and privacy. So I think this, in essence, is good news for the time being.
Big sigh of relief for sure that decision was made. I do remember when Charles Thompson was discussing that and the implications of that. And yeah, about time something like sort of went the way it should, really. Because it's just sick that they were chasing that. It really is. It's just disgusting and sick. And they're like, "Oh, but we need it to substantiate." I'm like, y'all haven't mentioned anything prior. You're waiting to see the pictures and then come up with some story that suits your allegations. Like, you haven't even brought it out before seeing the pictures. They're waiting to see the pictures and then build a case around that. That's sick. It's disgusting. So yeah, good move, and let's just hurry this thing up and get it over and done with. It's taking like so long.
Q, I agree with you. I really think that they wanted these photos just to humiliate Michael, and for no other reason than that. I would have loved to have seen the judge's face or his facial expression and the tone of his voice when he said, "It's clear why you want this." Because I read that from me, that you want this just to paint Michael Jackson in a negative light. You want to embarrass him. You want to, and I think that's what this case is all about. They want to play it out in the court of public opinion. And they want to force a settlement. And this is one of the instances where I stand behind the estate and saying, no, we're not going to settle. And so I'm glad that, the judge ruled the way that he did. And I'm like you, Q, let's get this over with. Let's keep it moving. This is a money grab. And I'm hopeful in the next year with the biopic, with Taj's documentary, and even the brothers' documentary, if it sees the light of day, that we will begin to, again, like I said before, put Michael's story out there as a matter of fact, not conjecture or allegations. It's a matter of fact that these allegations are not true.
Right. This is just a morbid fixation they have on Michael. And as you said, it's just to embarrass him. There's no other thing that they can do that. And by the way, if they were to win this, all they would do is actually shoot themselves in the foot, because all that would prove is that Michael was innocent, because there were pictures and drawings and everything in the 1993 case that proved that those pictures and the drawings from the kid did not match. So even if they win it, they would have lost, but they would have embarrassed Michael. So maybe that would have been their win. I don't know. But I agree totally with you guys about this is just a money grab.
That's the good point there, Jason. And like, that really is the crux of it. Like, if these pictures proved anything back then, he would have been charged and found guilty. If, like the Taj IPSO case, if there were any illegal images, child porn images found, he would have been charged with that and found guilty.
Right.
All of those things, the history speaks for itself. None of those things happened because those things were not true. And you can point that out every time someone brings it up. I was like, well, if that was the case, it would have already happened, and it didn't. So,
bottom line,
case closed, done.
Yeah, and also, I think also they even they think by losing that motion they win, because now they can say, well, the estate, they don't want those pictures out because it will prove, what, so that sense of mystery around those photos, I think they'll try to use to their advantage to say the estate and the family is trying to hide something. But like you say, Q, if all of the things that, they accuse Michael of doing, if there was actual evidence of it, Michael would have gone to jail, point blank.
Right. It's a matter of integrity on our side. It's a matter of money grabbing on their side.
I agree with all of you. This would have just been nothing but a humiliation tactic. And honestly, I feel like with Michael Jackson's death, we've learned entirely too much about him, as far as like there were a lot of things that would have remained private, especially in the court space, the things that got revealed during the Conrad Murray trial with the autopsy photos and everything that's been revealed as far as the kinds of doctors that Michael would go to during the AEG trial. This just would have been more private information for people to make money off of writing sensationalized stories about.
Yeah, and that shows that the lengths that they're going to try to prove something, because there's nothing else they have. You don't have anything else. You have no argument. So you go to these denigrating states to try to prove something that you don't have. You don't have it. That's why you go so low. That's why you hit so low, because this is very, very, very low to try to expose Michael that way.
Great final thoughts there, Jason. Agree. Jason, you just mentioned a little while ago about Toto selling music rights back to the estate. So there is actually a story about that recently. Steve Porcaro selling his rights for certain songs like Human Nature and other works to the estate. He signed a deal estimated in the low 8 figures to sell the rights to his music to the Michael Jackson estate and the independent music company Primary Wave. The deal may also have a great payoff for Michael Jackson fans, being that there's 2 songs actually, there's 2 unreleased songs, Chicago 1945 and Dream Away, that might see the light of day in the future. Porcaro famously recorded them with Michael as demos after the Thriller era. And of course, both songs have already leaked online, but only in very poor quality. So there's a chance we might get them at some point in the future now that Porcaro has done this deal with the estate.
I'm very happy for Toto. Toto is a great group, great music, amazing stuff out there. And I'm very happy for him, They're very famous, they're very big, but of course they're not as big as Michael. So when it comes to musical history, well, their revenue is not going to be as big as Michael in 70 years. So for them to sell their assets right now and ensure that their family and their people are good, I think it's a great move. So great for them. And hopefully we get to hear these songs that, of course, the state has no intentions right now to put him out there. Would have been nice for them to put him at the birthday celebration, but I mean now it's owned by Michael's estate. Maybe they want to sell those as well later on. But I'm happy for Toto, and I hope that they have fun and they keep creating. That's the point of him doing this. He said he wants to keep creating, and let's have more Toto music. Let's more Porcaro music out there.
Do any of you guys want to comment on the songs in particular?
Other than saying they might end up on Thriller 51 at this point. I don't really know.
Well, it's definitely possible. I mean, they like to include songs that are from completely other eras on re-releases. So.
they were more after Thriller, right? More towards the bad album.
Yeah, they were recorded, I think, in the year after
and
Thriller
I think one
came
of them,
out, from memory.
Yeah, and it should be a little similar, I would think, with Chicago that came out not long ago. Maybe is it one of those?
I think it leaked. I think it was Chicago 1945. I think was a leak. I don't think it was ever officially released, but I think it is worthy of releasing because it's kind of like Michael's first, experiment with that theme that carried through with Al Capone and Smooth Criminal and Dangerous, and I love that vibe in those song Blue Gangster as well from the Invincible era. I think it's got a great story to explore, and I think Jason, what you were saying earlier about I mean that's exactly the kind of thing you could set up on a birthday Q&A panel is have Steve Porcaro there, but then also have other people that were connected to that theme and there you go. You can build a whole theme out of it. I'm pretty sure the MJ1 people have performed to the song Blue Gangster at some point in the past anyway. So imagine having a whole panel of people that ever worked on songs connected to that theme and then discuss Michael's fascination with it, with crime and historical figures like Al Capone. Or it would have been great. But anyway.
And he talked about now he talked about the history of those songs and how they came about. It was pretty spontaneous of Michael to just suggest to him to do these songs. And he could talk about these on the seminars with Brad and be more open about them now that he doesn't own them. And I think it fills those gaps in as well for us fans that want to know everything about Michael's chronological career and life. And I'm glad that he's able to talk about those stories now more freely.
When are y'all going to get the Porcaro on the show, Jamon? Like, I think I remember reaching out when I was there. So come on, make it happen. That's the stories we want.
We have reached out to multiple Toto members, and they're David Page, and they're really hard because they're very famous and they still tour and perform a lot now. So they're very hard to get a hold of. I think they're very busy people, but we will continue to try. Absolutely. Good suggestion, Q. Okay, time to talk about some upcoming events. So, Q, we've got something coming to Australia pretty soon. February 26th through to April 6th is when the MJ the Musical run is due to happen. Hopefully, it'll also be extended beyond that. Pre-sale tickets came out, I think, August 26th. I don't think the pre-sale's now still open. We haven't really touched base about this, but I'm wondering, have you got a ticket already?
No, I did not. We got holiday to pay for this year. So that was the sort of main thing. I do think I'll get over there at some point, but I wasn't part of the big fan plan for the opening night thing. I'll see it at some point. And I do think it'll be extended, so I'm not panicking.
Yeah, me neither. And I think I'll probably join you.
Get your tickets as soon as you can because I missed it. They came to Houston. I forgot the dates, and I freaking missed the show.
I'm so sorry, Jason.
What a stupid idiot because I missed the show. I could have seen it without the need to travel to New York, and I missed the dates. I have no clue. I didn't put it in my calendar. I thought it was later on in the year, and what an idiot. And then somebody asked me, hey, did you go to the musical? And I was like, what? Did that already happen? And it had already happened. So please, guys, put it on your calendar, whatever date you choose, but make sure you remember when it is. Otherwise, you'll be regretting. I still want to go to New York, though. I've been telling my wife, hey, let's go to New York to see the Statue of Liberty and blah, blah, blah. Trying to convince her to go to New York for the sights. But you know the truth. And don't tell her. The truth is I just want to go to the musical.
I think she'll notice when you're
I'll tell her
lining
once
up
I'm
outside
there.
the theater.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go to see this one, baby. Shh. Let's keep it a secret over here.
Well, Jason, I got lucky. My wife surprised me for my birthday last year. She took me to. Well, she actually was my Christmas gift for my birthday. Took me to New York to see the musical. So, and it's coming back to Detroit. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It's coming to Detroit next month. So she's already asked me, do I want to go? I think she wants to see it more than I do. So I'm happy about that. So yes, I am going. And actually,
awesome.
One of my coaches in the district I work in, she was telling me how her and her partner are going to go see it as well, and they're really excited. So yeah, it's you got to go and see it. It's phenomenal.
Hannah, have you seen it, or is it coming soon for New U in Ohio?
Yeah, I actually have seen it. Last year, they came to, I believe, Cincinnati and Cleveland, and I drove to Cincinnati to go see it. But ironically, next week, at the time of us recording this, they're coming to Columbus, and I'm like, should I see it again? I don't know. But
wow,
it was
next week.
So good. Yeah. It was really great. I think everyone should try to see it. I mean, obviously, some things may be played up for the sake of the drama and like the play, but I think overall it was pretty great and pretty like spot on.
If it's coming next week, check if there's still tickets. Go again. You deserve it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do.
You do. After all you do for MJ, you deserve
Yes.
to see this again.
We'll see if the bank account agrees with you.
Well, yes, that's true.
I say the same thing because I have to travel.
yeah. Now, Q, you and I are going to have to try to get together and see it. I'd love to see it with you. Are you thinking about going sort of, obviously not, you said maybe not in those first few days or whatever, but a little bit into it?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to go right at the very start. I'll let it play a little bit. And I do think it'll be extended. I'm not like really panicking about that. It's, a lot of shows, the big premiere shows like Wicked and all those sort of things, they always extend their runs. So I have no doubt this will be the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try to connect with Charlie Carter, and maybe a few weeks into it or whatever, we can go see one.
Yes. Yeah. Sounds good.
And then an episode on your thoughts about it.
Of course.
Well, I mean, yeah,
All
I can
right.
do that. I mean, I feel like it's been, we've discussed it at length with so many people that have seen it, but I mean, I don't know what I can really add, but yeah, I'll definitely chime in with what I think.
We can do a little review episode, little mini bonus review episode.
Right.
Let's do it. I mean, I've avoided everything to do with it. I don't know how I've done it, but I've just, anytime videos come up on social media, I've not watched it, or the whole thing is on YouTube, I think, from what I understand, but I haven't, I'm literally, I would be going in, I've seen photos obviously, but I would be going in blind. So I've tried to make it that way.
Nice.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And, we've had episodes about it, and we had people saying glowing things, the best thing ever in the world. So people saying, this, and then the other. So, but the three of us in the MJ Radio, we haven't done it. So that's why that was my chance to do that and have an episode on somebody from the cast to say the actual what I think, and I missed it. So, yeah, they still not happy with me and my partners.
So did Sandra and Ale, did they like it?
They haven't seen it. I was the only one with a chance.
Oh,
and
right.
I was stupid enough not to do it.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear your thoughts as well. So, speaking of events that are coming up, there's a lot going on. So we've got Kingvention coming up in LA on October 12th. Elise, our co-host, is going to be there, going to Kingvention. That's going to be great. That's got heaps and heaps of people at it that worked with Michael, from Alif Sankey to Bill Whitfield, Daryl Finney, Saida Garrett, Eddie Garcia, Dorian Holley. I mean, the list is huge. At this point, I think they've announced around 12 people, with more to be announced. So when we were talking earlier about the estate kind of not doing their bit and fans doing their bit, well, look at what Pez and Seb are doing with Kingvention. That's pretty out of control. And not only are they continuing Kingvention, but they're doing it in LA. That's not even their home country. They're from London, where they usually do Kingvention. So this is a huge opportunity for US fans to go to one spot to hear about, Michael, from all of these different people that worked with him. So I think that's going to be really good. Tickets are now currently on sale. It is going to be really good. And I encourage anyone in the States that wants to learn more about Michael and to meet and be around people that worked with him and contributed to his legacy to go to that. Will any of you guys be considering going to that?
There's another one that I'm going to be missing. I have to go to Mexico to a wedding of my cousin, so I definitely can go. But when I heard about it, I was like, damn, this is something you've been looking at it online, this post for years, something you would like to attend in the future one day. And now they're coming to America and I can't go because of a previous engagement. It really pisses me off. And some people from Spain are even coming, people from Spain that I know that have, websites and YouTubes and everything. MJJ Kingdom, Ruben, he's coming over and I would have liked to meet him there and I can't. And so it makes me pretty sad. And wow, man, I'm just so sad I can't go. I would have gone. I would have gone if I didn't have this engagement.
Yeah, and I'm like Hannah. The bank account is not gonna agree with me on this one. The Shackelford family we have quite a few irons in the fire. But I'm glad to see such an event taking place. Now, there's a few of us have been talking about that there needs to be something like this. Not just for Michael, but for the entire family. Can you imagine having a weekend where you are, you have events surrounding the entire family, the Jackson Five, the Jacksons, Michael, Janet. So this is a step in the right direction. So I'm glad to see it happening, but I just I'll have to wait until next year or whenever it returns.
Right.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go, but I'm hoping that this won't be the last year it's in the U.S., and I hope that it does well enough for Pez to bring it back or even expand it like to different states or even different countries. I don't know if he has plans to do that, but that would be really cool.
Yeah, the success of this event will mark what they will do in the future. So I really hope they're super successful so that they go back. To me, it doesn't matter where, as long as they come back to America. Houston, of course, would be amazing. But I know that, there's Forest Lawn. There's so many Michael things in LA. So that would be the greatest spot. That or Indiana. But those are the two places I think they would consider. And I don't know LA. I never been to LA either. So that would be another thing. Easy for me to convince my wife, hey, we could go to LA and then just sneak into something else.
I feel so stressed for like the organizers of Kingvention bringing it to another country, even like just the behind the scenes putting together such a huge like a con.
Yeah.
And then let's do it overseas. Let's do it in a country we're not even from. I'm like, oh my God. So just huge credit and hats off to the team who are pulling this off, and every success to them. I'm very excited that the US is getting a chance to experience a Kingvention, and I hope it is a huge success because maybe they will consider every couple of years doing it elsewhere, and who knows where it could go. But yeah, so proud of them and wish them huge success. Very exciting, and have fun, Elise. I'm a little bit jealous that you get to go, but can't wait to hear from Elise all about it. I know she will enjoy it, and she will give us all of the great details about it.
Right.
And I think it will be successful. There's just so much excitement around Michael. And so I think Hannah mentioned it earlier. I think, fans want to eat. They want to, gobble up as much MJ as possible. So, I agree. Kudos to the team for putting it together and bringing it to the States. And I think it will be successful. And I'm going to, will that into existence. And so that way it will return. And so I can attend the next one.
Yes.
Kingvention is going to be awesome. There are some people there that have never, from my understanding, spoken much before at all. Like they've really found people that have contributed to Michael's legacy that have got hidden stories. Like there's a bodyguard called Clay Tave, and I don't think we've ever heard much from him. There's a choreographer who worked on Remember the Time called Courtney Miller, who went on to become a director. Who'll be wonderful to hear from. So it is going to be awesome, and I'm jealous of anybody who gets to go. Let's carry on talking about other events coming up. Another one that Elise will be going to is called This Is Thriller. It's happening in October. It's being put on by Prince Jackson's charity, the people that have done great events like King of Popcorn, which are the film nights that are continuing at Havenhurst throughout the rest of this year. This Is Thriller is going to be taking place on October 26, 2024 at the iconic Palace Theatre in Los Angeles, where Thriller was originally premiered. Tickets for this event range from $129 US all the way up to $215. It's currently not sold out from what I can see from the website. So if folks want to go to that, I'm guessing you might potentially be able to meet Prince because this is his organization putting it on. And I'm assuming they haven't really said what's going to be happening there, but it's a movie theater and it's a 2-hour event. So I am assuming they're going to be showing Thriller at this event and maybe other things. We don't know really. There's going to be merchandise, snacks, and you get to explore the venue and meet people. There's going to be more detail coming out about the event in the future. This Is Thriller is planned to actually be a yearly event. Except for the years that Heal LA will be doing Thriller Night, I guess at Havenhurst. They're planning on doing that once every 5 years. So they've really laid out, the next few years worth of plans. But I think this is probably going to be an exciting thing. Who knows who might turn up? It could be John Landis. It could be anyone. You just don't know. It could be Jackson family members. But a chance to see, I'm assuming, Thriller in all of its 4K glory on the big screen, surrounded by amazing Michael Jackson fans and people that knew him. And I just think it's going to be awesome. And what about that one? Are you guys thinking about heading to LA for that?
I'll put it on the list.
At this point, I'm going to have to start selling some organs. I see so many amazing
Hannah, no, don't, Hannah, no. You need them, Hannah. Michael would understand. It's fine. Keep those.
I mean, I've got 2 kidneys. I can sell one.
No, you can't. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, this is very exciting. I think this is more exciting than what the state does. It's actually makes me more interested in going to see these events that have been happening yearly by looking at pictures and videos from fans and that I know that go there, that have a blast, that take pictures with Prince and they dress up, and it's always a great event. They do great merchandise. They do great designs. I mean, Prince really got it going on. Whoever he's partnering with, he's doing a great job at that, and doing his foundation and honoring Michael and doing all these events. It's really good. I think the state should be looking at what Prince is doing and try to emulate some of those things, because Prince is doing a great job that really makes people from other places trying to go there to see. And actually, people from Spain that I know, they travel all the way to LA to the Thriller night. And that is freaking awesome that he's able to convince or to inspire people to go and do and attend to these events.
This is just an outstanding idea. I mean, this is overdue to screen Thriller in the actual theater. And so I agree with you, Jason. The estate should take note and get behind this type of event. And this is something that should happen, every year, obviously. And this is something that I will look forward to each year and save my little pennies and see if I can make the trip out and go at some point. But again, this is the type of stuff that will get fans excited to want to go. I mean, I would want to go and see just the theater itself, but to be able to see Thriller in the actual theater, it's just a slam dunk idea.
Is that the theater where Eddie Murphy said, "Repeat it, do it again, play it again"?
It could be.
I think it is.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, that sounds absolutely awesome. And who knows what else they might play. I mean, it's a 2-hour event. So I don't know. I don't want to say for sure, but there's a chance they might play something else. I always thought it'd be really cool if they did Thriller and then the making of Thriller as well. And maybe even Ghosts. I mean, they've got all those things in high definition now, so they'd look amazing on the big screen. But we will see what happens. Now, we've only got a couple of news stories to go. The next one is a pretty wild and wacky one that's sort of a crossover between the Michael Jacksons and Star Wars universe. But recently, a new Star Wars show was announced. It's called The Skeleton Crew, and it's going to be premiering on Disney Plus December 3rd. And there's kind of a memorable character that appears on screen in the trailer for it. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It absolutely blew up on the internet, not just in the Michael Jackson world, but also in nerdy Star Wars circles, of which I am a part as well. And
it blew up in your text message chat, Jamon.
It absolutely did. It went big, and we possibly here will have the return of the cute alien character Fuzzball from Captain EO, but popping into the Star Wars universe. Now, the reason that this is a definite possibility is because there already was always huge crossover between Star Wars and Michael Jackson, because Captain EO was produced by George Lucas. It was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. But, I mean, when you watch Captain EO, the sound effects, everything, it's so obvious that it was made by the Star Wars people. So I always, in my head, like to imagine that Captain EO was happening, in a distant place in the Star Wars, galaxy anyway. But it looks like that it might be a thing now. Q, I know you're a big Star Wars guy too. What do you think about this?
As soon as I saw this, I was like texting you and Elise because of your Star Wars fandom and for Elise's Captain EO fandom. And for me, for both, I was like, what? My mind was blown. When I watched the trailer, is it Skeleton Crew? Is that what the show's called?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. When I watched the trailer as it dropped for Skeleton Crew, I was like, did I just actually see this? And I had to watch it again and then pause it. And I was like, oh my God, this is a real thing. I didn't just imagine it. Fuzzball is in this. So head to the show notes. There's a great article from MJ Vibe, as all of our new stories come from. But yes, this is, for me, a very exciting thing. Just the technology advances to see Fuzzball in like 2024 looking so great. Very exciting. I think that we wanted to see a bit more of Captain EO in this new TV show than what actually might be. I think it's just a shared species. Maybe it is Fuzzball. Maybe it's just the same species as Fuzzball. But regardless, it's canon. It's in there. As for the rest of the characters representing Captain EO characters, I don't think that is the way that this is playing out. But yes, no, this is canon now. It's fine. Captain EO is in the Star Wars universe.
It's the real thing.
Like it's the real thing. The same as like when ET was as well. ET's also in that universe.
Yeah, the ET definitely is in the Star Wars universe. There's an ET cameo in the Phantom Menace.
Correct.
But you know what? I do think the MJ fans ran a little bit far with this one. Some of the commentary I was seeing online, some did. Some of the commentary online was saying that this is going to be a prequel to Captain EO. I don't think it's going to go that far. Yes, there are some similarities between the looks of certain characters. I think if anything, I would say that the creative team at Disney in Lucasfilm have probably taken inspiration from the design of EO and blended that in with Star Wars more so than making it a direct prequel. Yes. I don't think that's what's going on, but
no.
Yeah, it's still really cool. And like you say, there's no speculation anymore. The fact that the species are in the Star Wars universe means that, I'm sorry, Captain EO is absolutely taking place in the Star Wars universe at some point. So very, very cool stuff. Anybody else have thoughts on this one? Or did Q and I just get way too nerdy for you guys?
I'm not big on Star Wars, so I'm a huge Captain EO fan, but nah, I was never a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I didn't know about the connection, so I was glad to hear that there's a Star Wars connection to that. And unfortunately, I don't think there will ever be anything related to Captain EO, because who can replace Michael unless they hire Jafar to do something.
I don't know anything about Star Wars. I feel like you guys are kind of speaking Spanish right now.
Hola, buenos días, Hannah. ¿Cómo estás?
We are such the nerds, Jamon. Such the nerds.
We are. We really are.
Love it.
But you know what? We'll just have to have a Skeleton Crew watch party or something, and that's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll be over here.
That chat with Elise is going to be going off.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, let's get on to our last news story. And this one is just so heartwarming and positive. I love that we can finish the episode on this one. So I'm not so great with US or Californian geography, but I'll try to do this one regardless. Our last news story, something really heartwarming that I'm really happy that we can have as our last topic today, is that the mayor of Glendale in California, the city of Glendale, her name is Ellen Asatrian, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, has issued a letter to Michael Jackson fans declaring June 25th as Michael Jackson Remembrance Day. So as we all know, Glendale is the home to Forest Lawn, the final resting place of Michael Jackson. And each year on June 25th, hundreds of fans gather at that location to pay homage to the King of Pop. And in this letter, Mayor Asatrian has expressed her gratitude to Michael fans all around the world. And I'll just read the letter because it's not very long, but it says, in commemoration of the 15th anniversary of Michael Joe Jackson's celebration of life and legacy, June 25th is a day of remembrance for the body of work, the gift of his music and philanthropic work he left behind. On behalf of the City of Glendale, thank you to all attendees, supporters, and fans, also known as Moonwalkers and MJ Soldiers of Love, who travel near and far for annually gathering to honor Michael Joe Jackson's legacy. Your unwavering loyalty, support, and beautification of our city and forest lawn has not gone unnoticed, and we look forward to you coming back each year. So I think that's really touching and special, and for that to be an official day of remembrance in the city, I think is something that we can all be happy about.
Well, that just talks about the fact that, and she says it right in there, it doesn't go unnoticed. The fan movement of the people that travel and go to the cemetery every year, and that speaks volumes of how important that is, and it gives the fans an acknowledgement of their work and what they do.
And it just goes to show that Michael will forever be remembered for the global icon that he is. And we talked about it earlier, but any attempts to, cancel him or continue to smear his name will only fail. And I think there is a movement going, and it's going to continue into next year. And so I'm pleased to hear this. And I think it's just beginning. It's just getting started.
Well, I think it's beautiful. I think if anyone deserves something like this, it's Michael. I feel like this was a lot of the reason he did what he did, so that his legacy could remain and be so strong after he's not here anymore. So that just really warms my heart.
Absolutely, such a perfect way to put it. I think like this, any official proclamation, but this one was a really beautiful one. And the fact that she even mentioned the Soldiers of Love, I thought that was such a beautiful touch, and I really felt that. So yeah, loved this, loved seeing this, happy that this is like a really great positive story we can wrap this episode up on. But yeah, what a wonderful official proclamation by the mayor. So nice.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Beautiful way to end the episode. So thank you to the Mayor of Glendale. It's really wonderful that the fans and Michael have been honoured in that way. All right, we've come to the end of the episode. We'll go around the table now and get people's socials and where we can find people. I also want to learn a little bit about what some of you guys are up to. We've got a couple of important MJ content creators in our midst right now. We might start with Hannah. So Hannah, you released the first part of your incredible This Is It series on your YouTube channel. I really enjoyed and loved watching the first part and talking with you a little bit about it. It was just, you hit it right out of the park. Well done. How is the editing and everything coming along for part 2?
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. So part 2, I'm hoping, will be out before the end of the year. I'm about halfway done at this point with editing. There's still some things that I have to go back and write, but it's going really well. Aside from my computer issues, it's going really well.
Well, you've hinted online at a couple of people maybe being in the episode, or guests or something like that. So I'm particularly interested to hear, what comes of this one. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, I've been waiting to unveil my guests for quite a while. That's why editing part 2 has just been so amazing. I can't wait for people to hear what I've got.
Oh, that's so good. So excited. I mean, it's such a deep and mysterious kind of time period that you would have had to do a lot of research around. I'd imagine you would have dug through quite a bit of court footage and documents and those kind of things leading up to these installments.
Definitely. I remember the episode I think you and Charlie Thompson had done, and you had mentioned that I had my work cut out for me. And back then I was like, oh, yeah, well. And now I'm like, yeah, I do. Still do.
Yeah, there's a reason there's not a book about it yet, but I'm glad you're tackling that period of time, because it's a monumental achievement that you'll be getting out to the fan world to put all that information in one spot. So going to be awesome. If people want to keep up to date with your work on that and when it will come out, where are the best places online people can find you?
Of course, you can find me on my YouTube channel. If you just search for Hannah Savage, you'll probably find me. I'm a big deal. But you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, or I guess X, @_Hannah Savage. And stay tuned for part 2.
Awesome. That's great. Can't wait. Jason Garcia, we've been so lucky to have you on this episode again, returning to the MJCast. Now, our stories are pretty linked, aren't they? In a lot of ways. We've talked about that in the past, but your amazing show that you do with Sandra and Ali grew out of the MJCast when originally it was the MJCast en Espanol, and then you guys branched off and did your own thing with MJ Radio. How is MJ Radio going? Everything going good?
Everything going fine. Right now, we kind of took a hiatus on posting episodes. I went back to college for 1 year already. Trying to finish. I have 1 year left to get my bachelor's degree. So I've been pretty busy. Ali's been busy. Sandra's been busy. And it's just hard to get our schedules together to record. But that doesn't mean that the show is over in any way. The movement will continue. We're still the only podcast in Spanish about Michael Jackson, believe it or not. There's nobody else. I don't know why. There's some YouTube podcasts, but they're not real podcasts, as you guys know what a real podcast means. And so we will continue. We're still out there. Having a website, having a podcast on the web is not cheap. We have to pay all these things. That's why I'm surprised about Taj's website, because I know he has to pay for all those things. So it's not easy. But we'll keep pushing. We want to record an episode about the Invincible album soon, because people have been asking for that one. We have episodes for all of the other albums, but not the Invincible one yet. But we want to make it
just be
special,
ready about that, my friend. We've done an Invincible episode. We got feedback. Let me tell you. Anyway.
It's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. That one. There's a lot of split decisions, split opinions on those. So we were trying to make it special, nice, good, so that our followers like it. And that's why we haven't released it yet. But we're still going strong. We even though we take our time, we're still on. We're still on doing the show. You can find us on the Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else as mjradio.net. And thank you guys. Thank you guys for inviting me, for keeping us in your mind, and for giving us the chance to giving us our wings to fly and be ourselves and do our own thing in Latin America. And I'm just so grateful to have you guys as friends. And wow, I can't believe I'm here with you guys still after so long. You guys keep pushing. We keep pushing, and we don't give up. Thank you for everything you've done for MJ and for us and for our little show over here in Latin America.
Very proud of you, Jason. Very proud.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. That means the world. And we got a lot of stuff still to do in the future. Come on. We're going to keep working together for a long, long time.
Yes.
All right. So, Jason, where can people find you and MJ Radio online if they want to subscribe or follow you guys?
mjradio.net. That's all you have to Google, and everything will pop up. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and our website.
All right. Thank you so much, Jason. And Q, if people want to track down what you're up to these days, are you still on X, or are you more Instagram now? Where can people find you?
Yeah, pretty much just on Instagram now. I do have a Twitter account. It is at What Was the Q, but Instagram is where I'm most active. If you are going to follow me on Instagram, please do what other wonderful people have listened to in the past and done before, and that is send a DM to say, hiya, heard you on the MJCast, and dropping you a follow, because then I know you're not a bot or like just some like random follower that is possibly not a real person or like a creepy person. So yeah, send me a DM first, but Instagram handle is at What Was the Q2. So yeah, like I open Twitter occasionally, but I haven't posted anything there in a long time. And I guess I'm on Threads because of Instagram as well. So you can always follow me on Threads with the same Instagram handle.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you. It's been great to have you back on the show, man. It's just like old times. So can't wait to do it again.
I know, and I can't wait to catch up with you. It's been such a crazy year for you guys over in Brisbane.
Crazy.
But also my roster hasn't been super conducive to like catch ups with you because you got school and stuff as well, and I'll get in at like late at night and then leave the next day, but you'll be at school. So yeah, I haven't seen you since Damien's wedding.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but we'll have to definitely connect again soon. Let's make it happen. Let's get together soon, and then also we'll go see MJ the musical.
Yes, hopefully in October. I have exams in Brisbane in October, so maybe you'll be back from your trip by then, and I will need a nice alcoholic beverage after passing my exams.
Yeah, we'll enjoy that together. Shawn, last but not least, you are awesome. Thank you for coming on the MJCast again. I always love it when you come on. Our listeners love it when you come on. I also want to give you a special thank you because we might have a show or two just bubbling away and cooking in the background that we're working on. Let's not give anything away yet, but thank you so much for all the work you're doing, trying to pull together some really interesting conversations, shall we say, that our listeners will really enjoy.
Yes. So yeah, we've been working on 4 or 5 different guests, and I think we got one. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed on that one.
It's going to be awesome. Now, if people want to connect with you online and hear a few more thoughts about Michael Jackson and the Jackson family, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me. I don't really use my personal Facebook much anymore, but I am the administrator for 2 Jackson groups. So the Jackson Music Club. So come on over and join us there. We do a good job of preserving the legacy, and thank God for the Jacksons. I'm also on Twitter. I'm still on X or Twitter, at SA Shackelford. I'm on Instagram at Shawn.Shackelford. And if you want to follow the hilarity and adventures of my family on TikTok, you can find us at We Are the Shacklefords. We Are the Shacklefords. And that's part of our theme song that Q alluded to at the beginning.
So great. We Are the Shacklefords. Oh, I love it. It's so good.
Amazing.
So please, and actually I will say, like Q, if you are going to follow me on Twitter or Insta, send me a DM because I'm getting a lot of bots and a lot of unnecessary requests that I just blocked. So I actually ended up getting, was actually from a show that we did, I think maybe my first or second show, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and say, "Are you the Shawn Shackelford from the MJCast?" And
hey,
yes. So I wasn't expecting that. So I guess I'm on LinkedIn too. So if you want to follow me there.
That's so good. Well, thank you so much, Shawn. And I'll just wrap as well where people can find us online. We are all over the shop. We're at X. We don't really go there anymore, but we are there. We're on Threads, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You can just search the MJCast and find us. We've got a website, themjcast.com. The best way to connect with us, though, is probably through email. If you actually want to speak with us, we're going to have to go old school now because we're not exactly using social media as much as we used to. So you can reach us at themjcast@icloud.com. We love receiving emails from people that listen to our show. It really gives us a lot of positivity and hope. And you'll wake up in the morning and there'll be a message in your inbox from somebody in a country somewhere else around the world saying that they love the show or what they hope for in the future and all that kind of stuff. So please reach out. We absolutely love it. We'd love it if you could subscribe to us as a podcast. So obviously we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. We are getting a little bit behind with keeping our shows up to date on YouTube. That's totally on me. Apologies. I'm just waiting on a new computer, actually. My current computer my work computer is the only computer I have, and it's not doing such a great job at exporting 4K videos, shall we say. So it won't be long before I have a new Mac that'll be able to do that, and we'll get the YouTube back up to date for all of our listeners who primarily listen to us there. But thank you so much to everybody that listens to the MJCast. You can support us in a bunch of different ways. If you go to our website, there's a little button up the top that says support. That has a myriad of different ways you can support us, whether it's dropping us a couple of dollars through PayPal, really helps with keeping the show running costs going on. That'd be cool. Otherwise, you can go to the mjcast.com/shop. That'll take you to our merch store where we've got t-shirts and mugs and all kinds of fun things that help us out a little bit as well. Well, that is everything from me. Thank you so much to all of you guys for joining me today to catch up on all the latest Michael Jackson news. I'm sure it won't be long before we've got a trailer for the new biopic coming out next year. And we'll have to get back together to talk about that at some point. So I hope all of our listeners keep on keeping on with the Michael Jackson stuff, enjoy the music, and keep Michaeling.
Michael on.